Hello, my lovely red mare crew. We are here with Florence. And she and I have just been doing a little bit of hanging out, a little bit of place of peace. And now she wants to go back to her eating. So that was a really beautiful, probably about 10 minutes, I reckon. That's quite a big deal for us. Partly because Flo's main human is another human. It's the member of my posse called Cara, who's 13. And I very much wanted to give Flo to her and not interfere, not do that boring grown-up thing of coming in and taking over. But Cara's quite busy with her friends at the moment. Are we off? Where are we off to? Hello. Where are we off to? Yeah. And I suddenly thought that we're going to be backing this one fairly soon, and I would like to be able to ride her. And however brilliant the work that Cara is doing is, I need to have the relationship and the knowledge and the bond and the trust and everything. So I thought I'd start doing a bit more with Florence myself. And the first step, but look, do you see shoes come off? We had to get her shod because she had an abscess. And where the hole came out, it basically, as it grew out, it almost split the hoof. The farrier was worried that the hoof was literally going to fall apart. So we popped some shoes on her, but the hooves are much better now, you can see, and that one's come flying off. And I think that means we'll be able to take the shoes off, which is what I'm always aiming to do. Yes, so I needed to start to do a bit of bonding. And I've always worked with her a little bit, but not regularly. So there's my regular girl. And as a result, what happens is, is sometimes she wants to come and hang out with me, and sometimes she's not that interested. I've learnt one of my great lessons is not to take that kind of thing personally. You know, when they go back into horse world or they want to stay in horse world, it's not because I'm a failure as a human being. It's just, look, that's where she is now. 10 minutes ago, she was completely connected to me, and we were in the beautiful subatomic bonding that makes me think that we're all made of stardust. Yeah, so some days she would, you know, want to hang out, and some days she wouldn't. Some days she'd want to say hello, and some days she wouldn't. I'd like to get to the stage where she pretty much always wants to say hello, which is what the red mare does. It's very, very rare that she doesn't want to come up and hang out. It's very rare, isn't it? Do you see they've still got flies? This is crazy. This is October. That's why she's putting her head there. Because look, the tail works as the fly whisk, doesn't it? Yes. Oh, and also obviously smells very nice. I put some neem oil on it. Maybe that's what that is. Anyway, the reason I wanted to talk to you about this is that it made me think about human expectations. And I'm sure I've talked about this before, and I probably can't talk about this enough, because it's one of the things I see that really wrecks the serenity of the horse-human relationship. And it's those, shall we say, unrealistic expectations which verge onto entitlement. Excuse me. So I expect my horse to do this or do that. I expect my horse to jump a meter. I expect my horse always to be caught the instant I arrive at the field, because I want to go riding. Frog in the throat. I expect my horse to be backed in 3 months. I expect my horse... Now, look, this can be a difficult one. I expect my horse to love me. And I remember saying to that red mare, quite angrily, when she was not doing what I wanted her to do, and this I'm glad to say was many years ago, I remember saying to her, you know, I've learnt a whole new horsemanship for you. I spend hours on the internet watching an Australian guy doing videos for you. I do extra work so that I can pay for you. I, you know, attempt paddock management, as you can see, not very well. I go and get your feed, I have your back seen to, I get the saddle fitter out. I thought of all the things I do for. I come out rain and shine. In the winter, I unfreeze the water troughs. I sometimes have to carry buckets of hot water from the house back and forth, and it takes an hour. I got really into that awful sort of, all the things I do for you. And then I looked at her and she was still shaking her head at me, and I went, what more do you want from me, blood? And I don't think that I'm a horrible person, but that was not my finest hour. And I would be very surprised if all of you non-horrible people who are watching this didn't have similar ones at some point. But what's interesting is looking back on that is it didn't help anything, because I was just being cross and resentful. She then picked up on that and started behaving even more undesirably. And that made me even more resentful and even more furious. And we ended up, you know, getting worse rather than getting better. So all I'm thinking about, it's not so much the moral picture that we all have to be these, you know, wonderfully well-behaved, ethical, shiny humans. It's what works. And if you have unrealistic expectations or entitled expectations, you're going to get disappointed. Then if you're having a bad day anyway, or if life has got a little bit difficult for you and you're a little bit emotionally exhausted, you're then going to risk tipping into anger. And even if you don't express the anger, your horses will see it in everything you do. They'll feel it in the way that you pick up the rope. They'll see it in your body as you walk towards them. And then they won't want to hang out with you. And then you'll, hello, do you want to scratch? And yes, you do, don't you? Yes, you do. Oh, no? Oh, okay. You see, that I have to learn to understand that it's not personal. She just doesn't need me right at this minute. Look, she's got her own thing to do. Hasn't she, Flo? Yeah, the anger will come out. They'll see it in your body language. And then it's just like you're both permanently striking off on the wrong leg, on the wrong lead. So, oh look, I brought you to the scruffiest bit of the field. It really is charming, isn't it, with the dock leaves. I saw a really lovely video about a flat racing stud the other day, and oh my God, who does their paddock management? They probably have a whole person, don't they? That's their entire job. Anyway, look, Flo doesn't care, does she? Yes, so expectations. So with her, very specifically, because she'd started to retreat from me just a tiny bit, and I want her to come to me and connect with me and feel happy and safe with me, I took my expectations so low that I would actually say to myself as I was standing next to her, I'm not asking you for anything, not even love. I'm just asking you to be yourself. And I would stand apart from her, about 4 or 5 feet away, and I wouldn't even try and stroke her. I'd just let her be Flo. Let her be Flo, let her be Flo. That's all I'm asking for. Just let her be Flo. Now that is hard, because every bit of me, I think, oh, I'm not asking her for much, because I'm not asking her for, you know, training or to do technical things or anything like that. I'm just asking her to hang out with me. But actually I am asking her, I'm saying, can you love me? Can you think I'm marvellous? Can you choose me? Because that makes me feel good. And she, being a very sensitive, intelligent little person, she will sometimes feel that like it's a storm coming. She will feel that like it's a pressure. So I would stand here and just say, okay, Flo, you just be Florence. That's all I'm asking of you in this moment. Yes, yes. And she says, okay, I jolly well will. So off she goes. Let's see if I can stand up. Yes, I can. Off she goes. All right, my doodle. See you later. Yes. Just wondering why her human hasn't dealt with those horrible docks, although they appear to have something delicious in them. Yeah, so absolutely resetting your expectations really consciously. And I would say every day, particularly if you've got a sensitive horse, particularly if you've got a horse who's giving you any kind of trouble. You know, they're acting up, you feel like you're going backwards with them. Anything like that, anything with a horse that's upsetting you. The upset almost always comes from expectation. Doesn't it, Noodle? So just stand and breathe and say to yourself, all I ask is that you be yourself. All I ask is that you be yourself. And I think that you will find that removes so much angst, so much disappointment and so much upset. Then you're calmer and happier. The horse picks up on that. And you'll end up getting more of the things that you would love. Yes. You can say goodbye to the people now, miss. Are you? Yes. No, you're not really, because you don't know what YouTube is.